What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Saved by the Code. And dude, we got a juicy episode for you today. Got all sorts of great news to cover as usual. I mean, the news stories every single day are just so wild. And to see that we're at this point in crypto is just, I knew it would happen someday, but it really does feel quite surreal. Bitcoin is still annoyingly close to $100,000. Hasn't crossed that mark yet, but it will. It will. What if it doesn't? What if it just. This is the end. That was the top. $99,600 was the top. How annoying. It was $400 away from $100,000. Come on, Grandpa Bitcoin. Let's go. You can do it. You can get up there. I know you can. But, all right. Let's get into the juice for today. So we got good old Vladdy Putin, our boy Vlad over there in Russia, has declared Bitcoin as legal property in Russia, further legitimizing Bitcoin and enabling them to tax people more. That's the real motivation behind it, I'm sure. It says here that the new law rewrites Russia's tax code, turning crypto into a taxable asset. Was it not taxable there before? I didn't know that. I can't believe it took them that long. It exempts mining and sales from value-added tax, but miners must report their activities to local authorities or risk a fine of 40,000 rubles or 380 bucks. Oh man, that's a stiff fine for not reporting your activities. I'm sure no one will abide by that. Just pay the fine. I mean, how do they even really know you're mining if you don't report it? So then how are you going to pay the fine? That's silly. But anyways, trading profits are also taxed. It's a tiered tax system, 13% for earnings. Or under 13% for earnings under 22,300 and 15% for anything higher. So you pay 2% more for anything above $22,300. And crypto companies will face a standard tax rate of 25% starting next year. So yeah, good old Russia's cashing in on the crypto boom. They're the silent partner, the good old tax organizations, criminal tax organizations. I'll just rephrase that because they are criminal. They rob you of your money and just freely determine these rates. Okay, we're going to take, I think we'll take 15%. Oh, why not 17%? Yep, all right. It's law now. Bang the gavel and you got to pay us now. All right, thanks. Bye now. And then there's no oversight as to where this money's going, how it's being used, etc., etc. Everybody knows. It's just so it's extortion. It is extortion, plain and simple. But there's nothing anybody can do about it. So yeah, it's a property now in Russia, and they're just gonna. They estimate to make $2 billion from this extortion, and good for them. Just another way to rob your population. And that's just great. You go, Vladdy. While Putin is legitimizing Bitcoin, that does not, I guess whatever. Legal property now. It's legitimized. Now we can tax the hell out of you. So good. I'm so happy it's legitimized. Thank goodness. Meanwhile, the ruble is absolute trash. Absolute total garbage, just like every single fiat currency on the entire planet. It's trash. All of them are trash. They just are inflated into oblivion, and they create policies that just benefit them. It hurts the end consumer. And there's something called the Cantillon effect, where the people closest to the money printer are affected the least and benefit the most, the people furthest from it do not. And there's no oversight for that either. We just press the button and more numbers come out. Wow, how about that? Isn't that just, I wish I had a money printer. That would be sweet. But yeah, just like every other fiat currency on the planet, the ruble is absolute trash, and Bitcoin is far superior. So yeah, Bitcoin is now legal property in Russia, enabling to tax you to hell, and air quotes legitimizing it. So thanks for that one, Vladdy. Really appreciate you. All right, moving on to more happier story. El Salvador's Bitcoin stash is going above a $500 million with the recent price rise here. And this story was actually written when the price was $87,000. We're sitting at about 96, 97,000. So it's probably 600 million now, maybe 650 or something. So good for Nayib Bukele. I love this guy's awesome. He's the president of El Salvador, who made Bitcoin legal tender in 2021. What a bamf for doing that. And yeah, it's just great to see that his bet is paying off, because he received a lot of backlash for doing this from the coveted World Economic Forum, the World Bank, the whatever these trash organizations are. You're messing up here, buddy. You better watch yourself. And he was like, F you. He just kept buying more Bitcoin, made it legal tender, and now they're sitting pretty. El Salvador is doing so much better than it was even a couple years ago because of this guy stepping in and gutting the place and just making it better. Make El Salvador great again. And similar things are happening in other countries around the world. I'm sure you could guess certain individuals are in power that are going to take these kinds of measures to improve their country because they've been absolutely destroyed by weak and incompetent leadership. But anyways, El Salvador was the first to do it, and that was in 2021, before any country was even considering it. There's one other country that I actually just learned of today, the Central African Republic, who made Bitcoin legal tender a couple years ago too. It starts this way though. These little countries that are doing this to improve their country. Bhutan as well. These little tiny countries with Bhutan has 800,000 people living there. And they have 12,500 tokens, which is about 1.1 billion, and it's a third of their GDP. El Salvador's stash is 1.5% of its GDP. So Bhutan is all in. And they didn't say anything. They were just quiet, just, meditating, just Bitcoin. They just keep quiet and do their own thing. And I couldn't believe that. They just were quietly mining all this Bitcoin, just stacking it. And now they're sitting pretty, because the price is going nuts, and it's going to continue going nuts, and these countries are going to benefit significantly. But yeah, so I love seeing it. Nayib Bukele he's a badass, and yeah, he deserves it. I think. I don't know the guy. I guess. What am I saying? But it seems to be that El Salvador is doing way better than it was before his leadership. So much corruption and crime was there. He gutted the place. He was literally doing the same kind of thing, jailing all these criminals, and because gang activity was just rampant there. It was crazy there for a while, but it's gotten a lot better, and Bitcoin is legal tender there, and other countries will continue doing this as well. It starts with the little ones, but I think someday we'll see it legal tender in the U.S., which would be... I wouldn't be surprised if Trump did it. Wouldn't that be wild? Trump announces Bitcoin's legal tender in the United States. But yeah, these Bitcoin stashes are getting real big for these smaller countries. And you go Bhutan, El Salvador, Central African Republic. Hell yeah. Love it. This story. Next one. Will December surpass November's record-breaking Bitcoin price increase? I have no idea, and neither does anybody else. But looking at history, it appears as though Q4 is historically good, the best quarter for Bitcoin. And let's hope this continues to follow suit. And I think based on what we're seeing, I have no doubts that it will. People are happy. No, not everybody's happier around these times, but the those of us that liked what happened on November 5th are and the ensuing Bitcoin policies and crypto policies that's really the only thing I cared about. I'm sure amongst other things, but crypto policy is number one for me, and I'm gonna vote accordingly. And now that the regulatory landscape is heavily in favor of crypto, and just all these other things that are adding up, I would totally see not just December, but I mean the entire next year is just going to be ridiculously bullish, uh, given that we're all still here. um, but Q4 is historically bullish for our good old grandpa Bitcoin. And let's hope grandpa comes to Christmas this year with a big old $100,000 present. Wouldn't you love that? Oh, grandpa, you shouldn't have. Well, you earned it. Let's hope it's a $200,000 present. Wouldn't that be nuts? It's happened in the past. Bitcoin has literally like 5x, 4x in a month time. That was in previous years when the market cap was much lower, but nonetheless, it is still totally possible. Also, some metrics that are interesting to look at here. Bitcoin's rise occurred against the backdrop of a strengthening US dollar strength index, which is usually inversely correlated. So when the dollar is strong, Bitcoin doesn't perform as well. But we're seeing right now that the dollar is strong and Bitcoin is performing well. So a lot of metrics that are pointing to a bright future here for us in the US. Another one, the global M2 money supply, which is the global liquidity, and it has contracted recently, and it usually correlates positively. Bitcoin's price is pretty much, if you're not looking at the screen, this chart, the price increases if this global liquidity increases. It's pretty, the correlation is very apparent, and it's doing the opposite right now, which is an interesting thing to see. But yeah, I mean, just this in combination with the institutional adoption, retail investors really aren't here as nearly as much as they were in previous bull cycles. This is all being driven, or mostly being driven, by institutional money. Wall Street, BlackRock, all them, and MicroStrategy, publicly traded companies. And so we're not even really seeing the large influx of retail buyers yet. And with that, in combination with the institutional money, I mean, the numbers are just. I'm of the mindset that we're going to get close to $1 million freaking bucks in the next year or two. Call me crazy. I probably am. Well, not probably. I definitely am. But hey, it's no fun when you're not crazy, I guess. I don't know what I was going for there. But yeah, everything is looking bright for Bitcoin. Everything. A lot of the metrics are still very low that usually indicate a cycle top. They're not even like close to their cycle tops. And a lot of the, they are accurate whenever you take a combination of them and you look at like a group of not just like one metric, you want to look at a bunch of different metrics. They will tell you when the market's getting hot and overheated and you should probably start selling. And I'm going to definitely be keeping a close eye on those in the coming couple months just to see when you want to start laddering out of positions. I always want to keep Bitcoin holdings, but maybe some of those altcoins cash them out because Bitcoin's the only one with true staying power, let's be real. All right. So we got some quantum computer stuff here, some Albert Einstein stuff going on. Apparently, Microsoft had a breakthrough in quantum computing this past week, and we could possibly see some quantum miners coming out I mean, they didn't specifically say that, but this could be applied to quantum miners in the coming years. We're not even close to like quantum computers that can break cryptographic algorithms yet. Like so many people, there's so many fear mongering articles like Bitcoin's gonna be taken down by quantum computing in 2020, by 2020 it's going down. And they also another hilarious article from 2017 was Bitcoin is going to melt the earth by 2020 because of its electricity consumption and how much pollution it creates. And oh, everything's just still fine. There's so many of those ridiculous articles out there. You don't really see those anymore because they were just total incompetent individuals putting this crap out there trying to scare you. Most likely deep state or banksters. But anyways, apparently they had quite a breakthrough. Developed a quantum computing system made of 24 entangled logical qubits produced by just 80 physical qubits. I have no idea what that means, but apparently it's quite the accomplishment. And like I said, this could be applied. This article is stating that it could be applied to mining, and who knows? I mean, bringing this kind of thing to market is another thing. Who knows when that will be? 5-10 years that we'll see actual like quantum miners, not quantum computers that can break the algorithm, but quantum miners that can just mine so ridiculously fast that the difficulty or the hash rate of the Bitcoin network just goes up like 4 or 5x. There's just so much computing power behind it, and the security just goes up orders of magnitude as well along with it. We'll totally see it happen. At least I think so. And but we are very far off from a quantum computer that can break SHA-256, which is the cryptographic algorithm that Bitcoin currently runs on, and pretty much is like the standard for everything. And so that's the theory, is if you break SHA-256, you break pretty much everything in the world. You don't just break Bitcoin, and Bitcoin doesn't break. You just update it to a quantum hashing algorithm. It doesn't just all of a sudden, Bitcoin isn't just over. The internet's not just over. Other things that are secured by SHA-256 are not just over. Like, these things happen. Cryptographic algorithms inevitably break. They can't go forever. And so, because whenever you have computers, more and more powerful computers, they're able to do more numbers per second. And whenever you have quantum computers, they can just do this ridiculous amounts. That's when you start breaking algorithms. It's happened in the past, and it'll happen again to SHA-256. But you just update it. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. That's how it always will go. And then you'll have a quantum-resistant algorithm. And then the next whatever will come along. Who knows what it'll be called? Another Albert Einstein who figures out that we live in a simulation, and who knows what'll happen. But yeah, so pretty cool stuff. Quantum mining, wouldn't that be wild? Where they're just the amount of computing power behind Bitcoin would just be absurd. The security level would just be absurd, and that would just be really neat to see. But yeah, this breakthrough apparently could be. I mean, it can be applied to, but bringing it to market, that's a whole nother thing. Who knows when that will happen? What the price will be? You can buy this quantum miner, but it's what, $100,000 per miner or something insane. But your efficiency goes up, your hash rate, everything, all your metrics will go up. You'll be able to mine more Bitcoin, all that. So it would probably be a worthwhile investment. So yeah, cool stuff. Quantum mechanics science, yeah, equals MC squared. Woo! All right. This is a wild story coming out of Switzerland. Canton of Bern. I think that's a city. Oh, sorry, that's the parliament. Switzerland's Canton of Bern. Parliament has approved a motion to explore Bitcoin mining as a way to utilize surplus energy and stabilize its electricity grid. So this is just like a really interesting side effect of Bitcoin mining, is the ability for it to stabilize energy grids. So the nature of energy is that it's incredibly inefficient to store energy. You just can't. You have all this energy, but if it doesn't need to be used right then and there, it's pretty much just wasted. And and where's it? You just generated all this energy and you just wasted it all. So the idea is that, and it actually is being these is being done in places like Texas, where they use Bitcoin miners to gobble up this extra energy, so it's not wasted and it's turned into a profit. It's turned into economic prosperity, as you could call it, and it's literally just wasted otherwise. It's like flare gas as well, like the flames that come out of the top of the oil rigs. Bitcoin miners have captured some of that energy that's just wasted, literally. Why not use it to mine Bitcoin and make some freaking money? You know, and this, it balances your energy grid. So you have all this excess energy, but it's not needed. So what do? You either waste it and lose money, or you mine with Bitcoin and you make money. Who's going to say no to that? No one. And then when you don't have enough energy, when the Bitcoin miners are mining, they are able to turn off their operations, and they are provided with subsidies. They are literally incentivized to turn off their operations when there's not enough energy for the grid to support them, and they are paying the Bitcoin miners to do so, and that frees up so much more energy, and it allows them to provide energy for their citizens. So it's a balancing act. It literally balances out energy grids, and it's a really fascinating side effect that was not foreseen by anybody. And now, literally, this place is approving a motion to explore Bitcoin mining, Switzerland, to to stabilize their energy grids, because it's just wasted energy. Why would you say no to that? The motion tasked the government with preparing a report addressing 3 key points, identifying areas with unused energy in Bern. Oh, that is a city, Bern. Evaluating how Bitcoin mining could utilize the surplus in collaboration with Swiss mining companies, and assessing its potential to stabilize electricity grids during periods of supply fluctuation. Quote, Bitcoin mining companies bring in investments, create jobs, and help to develop renewable energy sources in many places around the world. The proposal states the whole renewable energy thing, whatever. But I'm not even going to get into that. But yeah, that is so true. It brings in jobs. It stabilizes energy grids. It brings investment. It's like you make a ton of money. I mean, why would you say no to that? And it's Bitcoin. Here it says, like I was speaking of Texas earlier, drawing comparisons to Texas, where Bitcoin miners have partnered with grid operators to balance energy supply and demand, the proposal suggests Bern could replicate similar success. So, yeah, this is wild to see. And, oh gosh. Love this stuff. In March, the global nonprofit group Greenpeace accused the Bitcoin mining industry of having deep ties with the fossil fuel industry and right-wing climate deniers, triggering massive backlash against the group. These people are nuts, the Greenpeace guys. They hate Bitcoin because it uses all this energy and blah, blah, blah. Like, go home. What you have to ask yourself is, what is this energy use justified? So Greenpeace, are you going after video gamers? Are you going after people with Christmas lights and washing machines? I could go on. Is the energy use justified? Is gaming justified? Video gaming? Yeah, if someone wants to game, let them game. Like, Bitcoin, literally, it's just so justified. A decentralized ledger, censorship decentralized ledger where anybody can store and send value to anybody in the entire world, no questions asked, self-sovereign, you are your own bank. I mean, if that's not justified, and video gaming is, or Christmas lights are, you people are just so intellectually dishonest. Greenpeace. Accuse the mining industry. Meh. Just unreal how ridiculous that is. They just have no argument anymore. these critics of Bitcoin and how much energy it uses. Oh, the energy, what are we gonna do? I'm gonna get on my computer that uses energy and write an article, but I'm allowed to. That's justified. But Bitcoin mining, and then I'm gonna play my video game later. But Bitcoin mining, no, no, no. You better stop that. Just incompetent little crybabies. Anyways, I'm sorry. I just went on a total rant there. So yeah, it's really awesome to see that these things are being pushed through these parliaments and these regulatory agencies and actually being enacted. It's just going to continue happening. It's going to continue happening. And it's just funny how all these things are happening after November 5th. Huh. What happened then? I wonder. I'll leave y'all to figure that one out. All right. Moving on from that, you go Bern in Switzerland. On the topic of mining, this article states that major Bitcoin miners spent 3.6 billion on infrastructure. That's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money. And the Bitcoin mining industry is massive. The hash rate just continues to go up. The hash rate being the amount of computing power behind Bitcoin, and miners are pretty happy right now. They're making a lot of money from the block rewards, with the price being where it is, as well as the transaction fees that they get as well. So they get the Bitcoin mining reward, block reward, and the transaction fees on top of it. So they're sitting real pretty right now. And transaction fees are no joke. Let's go to here. This is a really cool website, mempool.space, and it literally shows Bitcoin transactions going through in real time, like blocks being built. It's so cool. I could like watch this for like hours. I should put this as my screensaver. But I mean, per block, the fees in these blocks, I mean, total fees 65. That's nice. An extra $6,500. This one's 9,500, 9,700, $16,000 in fees on top of your 3.125 Bitcoin block reward. Like, that's insane. 9 grand, 6 grand, 6 grand, 10 grand, 16 grand. Like, that's hilarious. So yeah, these fees are no joke. And Bitcoin miners are quite happy. This is why you see this massive investment in the mining industry, because they want to cash in while we can still get these block rewards, because the block rewards will stop one day. And it's estimated like 115 years or so. And for those of you that don't know, to clarify, the Bitcoin block reward is the reward you get for putting in the computer, for investing in the computer hardware, the infrastructure, the electricity, expending all this money to set these computers up that then just guess numbers basically. And it takes a lot of electricity and work to do that. And so you get a reward for doing so. And that's what the Bitcoin block reward is. And right now it's around $300,000. So it's quite the incentive to do so. But yeah, it says here that key players in the crypto and Bitcoin mining industry since the beginning of this year raised $5 billion funding. Yeah, so a lot of money is going into the mining industry. This spending on infrastructure for Bitcoin mining rose after global computing power dedicated to gold mining, also called Hashrate, surged. Yeah, it's at an all-time high right now. Miners also committed. Let's see where that's at, actually. I would love to see that Bitcoin Hashrate chart. I bet it's above 700. Bitcoin Hashrate chart. Oh my God. Just keeps going. It's nuts. It's so crazy. The episode I did last week, it was at 670 exahashes per second. Now it's at 845 exahashes per second. An exahash being 1 quintillion. 1 quintillion. Not 1 million, not 1 billion, not 1 trillion. 1 quintillion. And this 845 exahashes, 845 quintillion hashes per second. That's absurd. That's absurd. A hash, you could just basically think of it as a number being guessed. So that's how many numbers per second are being guessed in the entire Bitcoin network. That's mind-melting. But yeah, lots of money flowing into Bitcoin mining. The network is healthier than ever. And it continues to go up and up and up and up. When will it ever stop? It hasn't stopped going up since its inception. Like literally, this chart I'm looking at, it goes all the way back to January. Wow, literally the first day of Bitcoin. That's crazy. First day of Bitcoin. I can't even get to it. Let me try to get to it. I want to see what it was. It's like measured in kilohashes. January. Yeah, look at that. January 9th, 2009. 68 kilohashes per second. And it jumps all the way to 9.87 megahashes. Oh, megahash is 1 million hashes per second. And we are now at 800, 75 quintillion hashes per second. That's quite a significant increase if you ask me. But yeah, it's just literally been going up ever since. Just terahashes, picahashes, exahashes. It's a really cool chart. Bitcoin hash rate chart. All right, enough of that hash sling and slasher stuff. SpongeBob, anybody? But yeah, Bitcoin mining doing great. All right, next one here for you. We got not enough Bitcoin out there to meet demand, and yeah, that is a total fact. And this guy's predicting that Bitcoin could reach 250,000 by end of 2025 and 500,000 by end of 2027. I think it will happen quicker than that, but I can appreciate the conservativism. But I think it'll be higher than these numbers. I could see 500,000 by the end of 2025 and close to 1 million by 2026, 2027. That's just me. But it says here that Bitcoin scarcity is becoming a major factor determining its price potential. Right now, there's not enough Bitcoin to meet demand. No, there's not. There is not any Bitcoin out there. 15 million. Supposed to be 21 million, but 6 million of which are lost forever. People forget their passwords, 15 million Bitcoin for 8 billion people. And that's not a lot, man. Of which MicroStrategy owns close to 400,000. The US owns 200,000. Oh, there's 600,000 off the table already. That's 3% gone by two entities. There's nothing out there. It's the scarcest thing on the entire planet. And what happens whenever supply diminishes and demand goes up? Woo! Bing bong. Number go up. Technology activated. He also states here, like I mentioned before, that previous Bitcoin rallies were largely driven by retail investors. This is all driven by institutional, the majority of which is driven by institutional investors. But we're going to see this influx of retail investors. I think we won't see that until Bitcoin passes 100,000. It's pretty funny how humans work. They don't want to buy Bitcoin when it's low. They want to buy high and sell low. Not buy low, sell high. That's how the majority of retail investors work. Like, makes zero sense, but that's how humans work. When everybody's doing it, I want to do it too. Oh, Bitcoin's at 500,000, I want it all. Bitcoin at 20 grand, ew. Why would I buy that? It's literally how the majority of retail investors work, and that's fantastic. I love it. It's pumping our bags. So yeah, keep doing that, retail investors. Retail, love the term. Retail investors, but this one's driven by attention. Now they're going to see retail trading come to the top. Yeah, they love buying the top. They just love it, and that creates these blow off tops that we usually see that we didn't see in 2021. Where Bitcoin literally does like a 3-4x in like 4 weeks. I hope we see that this time around, and it happens so fast. And it's happened before. 2017, Bitcoin went from, it was like, I think in November or December, Bitcoin was at like 10,000 or like 8,000, and it went to 20 grand by December. So it happens really quick, at least doubling. But in like August, it was like 4 grand, like September in 2017. So that's like a 5x in like 3 months. So I could totally foresee that happening here again. And let's hope it does. So yeah, there's not enough Bitcoin out there for you folks. Try to get it while you can. Not financial advice. Nothing on this channel is financial advice. But yeah, Bitcoin, not a lot out there. It's the scarcest thing on the planet. Get yourself some while you can. Not financial advice. All right, moving on to the next story. The last story, and then we'll move into our little educational part that I've been doing, our little informative part, which is about Bitcoin full nodes. Anyways, last story here, Bitcoin could see inflows worth 2.28 trillion in 2025. Insights from OKG Research. OKG Research says that a lot of money is going to go into Bitcoin in 2025. How about that insight? Wow, I would have never thought of that if they didn't do this research. A really cool metric here that came out of the research. All these companies buying all this stuff. It states that only 0.01% of publicly listed companies hold Bitcoin. Like, that's crazy. 0.01% of publicly listed companies hold Bitcoin, and we're at $97,000 for a Bitcoin. That sounds like this is where $1 million Bitcoin comes from. The numbers, the lack of money that is in Bitcoin yet is mind-bendingly, blowingly melting. And this is where you get the $1 million, $10 million Bitcoins from. There's so much money that can still flow into it. I mean, $2 trillion is not a lot in the grand scheme of things. That's the market cap of Bitcoin right now. There's so much more money that can go into it. And this saying that only 0.01% of publicly listed companies are into Bitcoin, that's just companies. No countries are, very few countries are into it. But that's just companies. And then you take into account countries. And then you take into account just individuals, just retail, regular people buying Bitcoin. Ugh. It's too wild. The analysis also looks at some nations, invest in Bitcoin, we all know that. Yep, decentralization, fixed supply, blah, 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 blah. Not a lot of Bitcoin, tons of money that can go into it. Guess what happens? Number go up, technology activated. All right. That does it for the news portion of this video. I am going to enter into the education zone. And for today, I'm going to be talking about Bitcoin full nodes. Something that is really not known by a lot of people or mentioned in the media at all. Everybody just talks about miners. There are also these things called full nodes. Bitcoin miners are nodes, by the way, but then they're doing the additional computing work required to add blocks to the blockchain. Full nodes are just validating transactions. So to validate a transaction, it's meant to be super easy and quick. So you can literally just be a Bitcoin full node. You just run it on a laptop. You don't need crazy mining hardware. You don't need to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars. You don't make any money doing it. You just contribute to the decentralization of the network. But it's very simple to do. And I'm actually going to set one up, and I'm going to make a video about how I set it up. It's simple. It does not require any super technical abilities or like it's easy. It's just if you can download software and change some settings, you're good to go. But full nodes, what they're doing is taking in transactions and broadcasting them to miners, which then pick them up and organize them into blocks. And the additional thing that miners are doing are, like I said, doing the computing, expending lots of energy and doing the work to earn the right to add the block to the blockchain, generating the proof of work. You have to show the proof that you did the work. But full nodes aren't doing that. They don't have to expend tons of computer energy, and they can't add blocks to the blockchain. But they do validate if transactions are valid and if the blocks that the miners mined are valid. So it's like a checks and balances kind of thing. If miners try to tamper with the transactions and try to add it, validators won't accept it. And so it's a balance of power there. Checks and balances kind of thing. How the U.S. government's supposed to work. But yeah, these full nodes, there's 20,000 of them around the globe, active ones right now. I'm gonna put a link in the description. 20,109 reachable nodes around the globe, distributed geographically. The decentralization is quite apparent of this map. There's a bunch in Europe. There's a bunch in the U.S. The U.S. is the top one of known ones, but then there's the number one is the unknowns. You don't even know where they are. But yeah, this map is really cool. You can just see where Bitcoin nodes are. And another really interesting metric here is the global nodes. There's 63,000 global nodes, but 20,000 of which are reachable. So some people don't leave their computers on all day. So yeah, that's what it requires. If you want to run a full node, you have to leave your computer on, and it has to have an internet connection. Sometimes that internet connection might go down. Sometimes people don't want to leave their computers on for 24 hours a day. It's at least you want to leave it on for 6 hours a day. But yeah, it just runs autonomously. You don't have to do anything. You just set it up, and it starts validating away. And it's an essential, absolutely essential part to the proper functioning of Bitcoin, and it contributes to its decentralization. You don't make money doing it, but you contribute to the greatest financial store of value, instrument, whatever you want to call it, on the planet. Scarcest asset on the planet. The most decentralized, powerful computing network on the planet. And if that's not incentive enough for you to set up a little laptop and pay some money and electricity and use a bunch of your internet, I don't know what is. So yeah, Bitcoin full nodes, so important and not talked about enough. Really aren't. Everybody thinks that miners have all the power. They don't. Full node, it's the balancing of power. So like I said, if Bitcoin miners try to submit false transactions or tamper with a block of transactions and try to submit it, nodes will catch it and be like, nope, sorry buddy. So it's a really interesting aspect of Bitcoin that not a lot of people talk about, are full nodes. And yeah, I'm going to set one up here this week, hopefully, and make a video about it, because I think it's super important for people to do this. Alright folks, that does it for today. I deeply, deeply appreciate y'all for tuning in today and listening to me talk about this crazy crypto stuff. I hope you tune in again next time. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, leave a comment, whatever you want to do. I deeply appreciate it. And yeah, until next time, I bid you farewell on your cryptocurrency journey.